What's up, fam? Hope you're doing fantastic out there. Today, we are taking a look at an awesome new release from Tempest Knives. So this knife is not out yet. It will be releasing on May the 10th, 2025 at 1 p.m. If you guys caught the unboxing that I did just late last night, early this morning on the 29th of April, 2025. Just in case you're watching this in the future. Anyway, it is the Tempest Knives Downdraft. We're just going to get straight into the knife here. I'm going to stop rambling. I'm very excited about this knife. This is honestly my favorite design from KC. This knife just speaks to me in every way. I absolutely love the blade shape. I love the handle shape. It's simple yet, clean, and it is a very, very good looking knife. So we'll go ahead and jump straight into the specs of it. We'll give you all the information on the knife. Again, this knife will go live. So this is not a pre-order. These knives are here. That's how I got this one. So I was able to get a hold of this early thanks to KC at Tempest. So I did pay for the knife, of course, and I was able to get this review sample in early. But these will be dropping on May the 10th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So blade length, you're looking at a 3.5 inch blade with a 3.25 inch cutting edge, 7.5 inches overall, and only 2.8 ounces. Now I'm assuming the other versions might have slightly different weights because there is aluminum and there is titanium versions as well, but I'm assuming they're all going to be pretty close. Either way it goes, you're going to be looking at a really nice blade to weight ratio. This is done extremely well on this knife. And this thing is sweet in the hand. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know that right out front. So all the different versions, there are 6 different versions of this knife. There's going to be 5 versions that are available on TempestKnives.com. And then there's going to be 1 version available on Blade Binge. Of course, the Blade Binge version is going to be the Brittany Blue with the black wash. And then on the Tempest Knives website, there is the Firestorm version, which is the flame tie there with the acid wash. And then there's this version here with the 80s camo carbon, the stonewash, and satin flats. Then there is the 80s version with the blacked out hardware and the black wash blade. And then those versions are all $149. And then there are 2 versions for $139, and that is the Bead Blast aluminum. So it's just kind of a plain aluminum with a full stonewashed blade. And then there is a silver twill carbon fiber with the dual ground blade, kind of like you have here with the stonewash and the satin flats. Now you can use any of the 10% off codes that are available on Blade Binge. That will get you 10% off at Blade Binge. And then you can also use code TEMPEST on TempestKnives.com to get that 10% off there as well. So you can save yourself a little bit of money on all of these versions. These are OEM'd by Kubi for Tempest. And as per usual, they absolutely knocked it out of the park. Did a fantastic job. Fit and finish on this knife is perfect. It was right out of the box. It was really nice. Absolutely no complaints whatsoever with this thing. I am absolutely blown away by it. Now, there are a couple of options that we'll talk about on here as we go through, but let's go ahead and do our close-ups, our standard close-up stuff, and we'll talk about a few of the kind of things that you can do with this knife. So here we can see you have a nice little milled out area there. Kind of gives almost like a simulated bolster look to it. And then the typical Tempest Knives will pivot there. And that beautiful 80s camo carbon. So my particular set of scales I have here has a lot more green and pink to them than they do blue. I don't know, we get a little more blue up there. T8 hardware all the way around. You do have a reversible wire pocket clip, open pillar construction. No lanyard love. Let's see, are we going to be able to tie a lanyard on there? If you're using some micro cord, you might be able to get a lanyard on there and not have any issues. Now, this is what I was talking about with the kind of the alterations that you can make to the knife. So this is set up to accept the Lynch Northwest wire clip replacement. So you can get that wire clip replacement from Lynch Northwest, and if you want to upgrade that wire clip, you can certainly do that without any issues. So again, just taking a look at the fit and finish here. Really great job. Absolutely love 80s camo carbon, and you can see this side here has a lot more green to it. And then we even got some orange peeking in through there. So really, really great look here. We do have a kind of a minimal flipper here. Great job on the jimping on this. Without that jimping, this flipper would not work. Go ahead and flick that blade out. We have some really nice jimping here that runs halfway down the blade. Then we have a really nice blade window with a full-length fuller as well. And the fuller does have a pretty good shelf to it. It's not as deep as I was expecting it to be, but you are definitely able to get that fuller and reverse flick off of it. And also you have that blade window there that gives you a ton of space, a ton of realty to be able to reverse flick off of this knife. And you have this kind of a modified Warncliffe sheepfooty blade here. Really, really good looking blade. Is my favorite blade shape. And of course you have, again, you got this satin flats, the stonewash grind, and then stonewash there inside the window. 154 CM on that side, and then the Tempest Tornado on this side. That's the only branding on the entire knife. Plunge grind is phenomenal. Absolutely perfect. Kubi knocked it out of the park. Cannot get hardly any better than that. Just a gorgeous, fantastic plunge grind. Everybody needs to take notes of that because that is great. Sharpening looks to be good. Now, I have had this knife out and about. I've had it on me all day, since I got it in anyway, and I have used it some. The blade did definitely come sharp as per usual with Kubi, so no issues there. Our tip looks to be pretty straight. Yeah, I don't see any issues with that. Lockup is phenomenal. Centering is perfect. Let's go ahead and take a look at that lock bar access. KC typically does a really great job with that, and this is no exception. Great lock bar access, and then nicely chamfered. No issues there at all. Action is typical of Kubi. Phenomenal action. Reverse flicks like a dream. You can thumb flick it. No issues there. You can slow roll it. And then, of course, you can use the flipper. Now, I will say, and this is personal preference, I do not care for the flipper. That is personal preference, and that is just simply because I'm not big on this style flipper. Even on, like, the Vero stuff, yeah, I'm really just not that big on that style flipper. However, just like with the Vero, just like with everything else, the reverse flick is money. So I don't care that that flipper's there. I ignore it. It disappears into the knife. It gives you a nice little spot here to be able to kind of choke up on. It kind of bridges that gap. I have zero issues with having that flipper there. So if you enjoy that flipper, if it works amazing, and it works very, very, very well, and it doesn't take away from the aesthetics of the knife, it doesn't have anything hanging off the end, it doesn't bother me. It's just, I'm saying, as far as functionality wise, for me, I'm not a huge fan of that style of flipper. But again, it disappears, so I don't care about it. The reverse flick is so money on this knife. It just, it's disgusting, quite honestly. Just, golly. Anyway, and so the ergonomics on this thing are just really stunning as well. It fits my hand in particular extremely well. The jimping is great here. So it really locks you in. Again, you have that flipper there that kind of fills out that spot where you are choked up. That gives you a really locked in position. If you do want to come down further and get into that finger choil, you can do so. Now in this grip, I do feel that pocket clip, but being a wire pocket clip, it is no issue. You just feel it, you know it's there. But choked up right here, I don't really feel that pocket clip as much. And this is most likely where I'm going to be on this knife anyway. I kind of set my middle finger right at the edge of that finger choil there, and it just kind of locks me in. It feels really great in this grip here. And so you guys know this being in that sweet spot for me. So you guys know anywhere between 7 and 8 inches is what I consider the perfect size for a knife. This one's literally smack dab in between those at 7.5. So I absolutely have zero issues with the size. Again, action phenomenal. And ergonomics are incredible no matter where I'm at. Pinch grip, anything I want to do. Of course, being able to get in, get those utility cuts, or just being able to use this knife. This thing is going to be a workhorse, and it's not going to weigh you down. I'm going to liken this knife to things like the Devo Tallboy, to things like the Asher Warncliffe Spiro. This is in that Hall of Fame for those amazing workhorse knives. I will most likely be getting a Lynch clip for it just to see how that does. And I'm a big fan of wire pocket clips, but I don't have any of the Lynch Northwest wire clips, so might as well go ahead and add one to it. I may skip this knife, but I honestly, it doesn't need it. So I don't know for sure whether or not I will, but I really don't. I don't foresee myself doing that just because it really doesn't need it at all. Let's go ahead and do a quick hardware check, see how well the hardware is tooled. So we got our T8, just the slightest little bit of wiggle there. Pocket clip, nothing there. Nothing on these, nothing on that one. Just a touch on that one, nothing there. And then just a little bit there. So absolutely phenomenal job. You can get better, but not by much. So no issues with that whatsoever. Again, guys, get in on these. This is a phenomenal knife. Like I said, I've handled every single one of the Tempest knives, and this is quite honestly the stunner of them all. I thought the Thunderhead, his design with concept, was going to be my favorite design of his, and I had honestly forgot about this until he mentioned the drop happening, and I just started drooling again because I needed to have this knife. So you definitely do not want to miss out on this one. There are a ton of different variants. There's a ton of them available, so you guys will have just a little bit of time to get on these. But do not waste that little bit of time that you have, and make sure you get the version that you want. They're all stunning. Of course, you guys have seen them. I had the pictures posted up on here already. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. Show some love to KC at Knives Fast and Tempest Knives. I'll have him tagged down below. Like I said, definitely show him some love. If you aren't already subscribed to him, which if you're watching my channel, I don't know why you wouldn't be subscribed to him. Anyway, go check him out. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. Please remember to be kind, be humble, and be EDC. Take care.